Okay, so the procedure of Zhou et al., they got 24 heterosexual men, 24 heterosexual women, 24 gay men, and 24 women-loving women. This means lesbians and bisexuals. They were asked to smell jars of cloves. The first had A&D, the second had EST, and the third was a control group that was just cloves. So after that, they were asked to watch stick figures walking across the screen and to determine the gender of the stick figure. What they found was that A&D biased heterosexual females and homosexual males, so people who like men, to perceive the walkers as more masculine. Oppositely, people who are attracted to women, so lesbians, bisexual women, and heterosexual men, were more biased by EST to perceive the stick figure as more feminine. And then bisexual and homosexual women fell in between heterosexual males and females. So, what we can conclude from this is that pheromones do in fact influence the communication of gender information in a sex-specific manner. This was the first direct evidence that the two human steroids could communicate opposite gender information, and it's effective to the two sex groups based on sexual orientation. So the next one, our key term is, well, this is techniques to study behavior, and our key term is an MRI scan. So an MRI scan is a research method that uses imaging techniques that use magnetic fields to generate computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs and tissues in the body. So the case study for this is McGuire in 2000. So the aim of McGuire in 2000 was to examine whether structural changes could be detected in the brains of London taxi drivers. So the procedure, they gathered 16 right-handed London taxi drivers and used an MRI scan to investigate their brain structure and compare it to scans of just like normal people. So what they found was that there was increased gray matter in the brains of taxi drivers compared to compared to the controls in the right and left hippocampus. So what we can conclude from this is that practice with spatial navigation affects the mass of your hippocampus, which also just means that your hippocampus is responsible for, you know, like spatial reasoning and stuff like that. Kind of going through this fast. Okay. The next one is localization. This falls under the subcategory of brain and behavior. So localization is the idea that different parts of your brain are responsible for specific behaviors, or certain functions are located to certain areas of the brain. So for this, we've got Myers and Sperry. Their aim was to investigate the functional differences between two hemispheres of the brain. So they used cats and monkeys to study the two hemispheres of your brain. So what they found is that if the hemispheres were not connected, their functions were independent of each other. Sorry, there we go. And so since monkeys and cats have similar brains to ours, what they concluded from their results is that hemispheres in the human brain have separate functions. So like the left the left hemisphere is responsible for interpreting language and the right isn't. So what we've got next is neuroplasticity. This is also under the brain and behavior subcategory. Neuroplasticity is the ability of neural networks in the brain to change through growth and reorganization. Changes range from individual neuron pathways, making new connections, to systematic adjustments such as cortical remapping. Let me stop this one and start another one.